Straight to the movie. Toby Marshall runs a garage in a small town in upstate New York. He and his friends build and tune performance cars. On a racing web radio show, DJ Monarch explains that Toby used to be a local racer and competed against his main rival, Dino. Dino has since made it big, running in Indy and other professional race series, and now runs a car dealership. Monarch speculates that Toby was just as good as Dino, but Dino was lucky to make it to the big time. Toby inherited the garage from his father, but he is now having trouble making bank payments. He and his crew street race their classic muscle cars to scrape together enough for the payments. After winning a race, they celebrate at the local drive-in. Dino shows up, driving a Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. He is accompanied by his girlfriend, Anita. She is Toby's former girlfriend, and the sister of Little Pete, one of Toby's crew. They exchange some trash talk. There is much animosity between Toby and Dino. The next day, Dino shows up at the garage. He has the Ford Mustang that Carroll Shelby was building when he died, and is looking for the shop to complete the work. He knows Toby's crew are the best for this sort of thing. He intends to sell the car once the work is done, and offers Toby 25% of the estimated $2 million selling price. The crew try to talk Toby out taking on the project, but Toby needs the money. After the work is done, the car is put up for auction at a very glitzy party. Toby and Dino meet Julia, who is a buyer for a well-to-do Briton. She agrees to pay $3 million if the car can go over 230 miles per hour, as Toby claims. Dino is unsure, and prohibits Toby from proving him wrong. They agree to meet at the track the next morning, so Julia can evaluate the car. Toby and his crew arrive early, and Toby is able to get the car up to 234 miles per hour. The crew speculate that Dino would never be able to get the car going as fast as Toby. Julia and her buyer agree to purchase the car for $2.7 million. Dino is slighted, and takes Toby and Little Pete to his uncle's mansion. He challenges them to race his uncle's 3 illegally imported European Koenigsegg Atra cars. If Toby wins, he gets Dino's 75% of the Mustang deal. If he loses, he gives up his 25%. They race from the house to a bridge over the interstate. During the race, Little Pete gets in front of Dino, and continually blocks him from catching Toby. Out of frustration, Dino tags Little Pete's car, and it flips down a ravine, onto some rocks, and catches fire. Toby races back to help, but is too late. Dino and his car disappear, and Toby goes to jail for manslaughter. After 2 years, Toby is released on parole, and immediately sets out to avenge Little Pete's death. He is able to borrow the Shelby Mustang to enter a winner-take-all race organized by Monarch. They must get to somewhere in California, where the race will start in 2 days. The crew try to scare Julia out of the car with some crazy driving, but she is unfazed. One of the crew, Benny, call me Maverick, flies overhead in a Cessna as a spotter, and they make their way across the country. After a spectacular escape from the Detroit police, all state police are notified that a silver Mustang is heading west with Toby, who has broken parole. Monarch mentions this on his web radio show, and invites Toby into the race. His goal is San Francisco. Dino, who is now based in San Francisco, calls the radio show and offers his Lamborghini to anyone who stops Toby from getting to the race. After a run-in with the police at a gas station, the Mustang is challenged in Utah by a couple of 4x4s wanting Dino's reward. Julia is driving. She initially faces down the attackers by driving straight at the Hummer, gambling that the driver has a big car to make up for his lack of balls. However, they are forced off-road. They are about to be caught when Maverick appears in an Apache Army helicopter. They are able to hook a rope through the car, and he carries them off over a canyon to the Bonneville Salt Flats, where the rest of the crew are waiting. Maverick is arrested by the military police, but has saved the day. They get to San Francisco just in time to register. Toby threatens Dino, but they agree to sort things out during the race. Heading to a hotel together, Julia and Toby are broadsided by a truck driven by one of Dino's employees. The car is totaled, and Julia is taken to the hospital. Unless Toby can find a car, Little Pete's death will not be avenged. Anita has become aware of Dino's tactics, and searches his computer to discover that the Koenigsegg that killed her brother is secretly being stored in a local warehouse. She meets with Toby and gives him the location and her engagement ring from Dino. The next morning, 5 exotic cars are waiting to start the race. Toby pulls up last. Dino is spooked by seeing Toby in his car, and further spooked when Toby gives Dino Anita's ring. They are off, with the California Highway Patrol in hot pursuit. One by one the cars crash out, mostly due to CHP attempts to stop the race. Finally, with just Dino and Toby left, they race side by side along the Pacific Highway. Coming up to a corner, Dino misjudges an attempt to tag Toby. He crashes and rolls as the car catches fire. Toby sees the finish line ahead, but turns around to pull Dino from the flames. He takes off just as the CHP arrive. They follow him to the finish line and block him in. Both he and Dino are arrested. With the missing Koenigsegg found, Dino is sent to jail for Little Pete's death. Toby serves 6 months for street racing and is released. Julia picks him up from jail in a new prototype 2015 Mustang. During the credits, we see Maverick teaching the other inmates how to twerk.